Welcome everyone to today's video. We're going to be talking about Man City and Arsenal and the best combined 11. My name is Vazgen.
My name is Lukas.
Lukas, do you want to start it off? Because you were a goalkeeper, so I think we can start off with the goalkeepers. Raya versus Ederson. What do you think?
I mean, despite me being a goalkeeper, I think there is no argument here. I think even the most delusional Arsenal fan will not argue here who is the better goalkeeper.
Okay, so you got to make an argument why you think Ederson is better, because clearly that's what you're going off.
I mean, since you're trying to play a devil's advocate right now, you tell me, why do you think there is even the slightest chance Raya is better than Ederson?
Well, the argument that I'm going to make is not based on their overall careers. I'm going to make it based on who's better right now and this season. And my argument will be that Raya has the more clean sheets this season. His distribution has been as good as Ederson's this season. If we look at the stats, they're pretty similar. And in terms of the run that we've been on, Raya has a big part to play there. And so just on this season alone, I think Raya deserves some recognition. On their total career, it's obvious that Ederson has won way more, is the better goalkeeper all around. And Raya still has to prove that. But what do you think about Raya this season?
I mean, there are certain aspects where Raya is actually better than Ederson. I think the main aspect I could think of is when Raya catches the ball, he catches it more cleanly. With Ederson, there's always a chance he's not going to actually save it and keep it in his hands. Might actually deflect it to the side and do it not in a safe way. And Raya, he's very quick to get down. His reflexes are much better. He has better speed as a goalkeeper. But overall, I just, my dislike towards short goalkeepers. So Raya's height is the biggest disadvantage to me. His positioning is very questionable at times. He gets away with lots of positional mistakes. So yeah, but the distribution, I'll kind of disagree with you on that one. I think when it comes to who I would trust more with the ball, it's definitely Ederson. Whether it's long ball, whether it's short passes, it's just Ederson, in my opinion, has a better vision with the ball. Sure. When you also mentioned the clean sheets, sure, Arsenal are better in clean sheets, but I think it's due to Raya being a better goalkeeper. It's just Arsenal defense just being more stable in general. So yeah, that's the main factor. I don't think it's just, if you look at the stats, the shots that Ederson has to face, they're much more dangerous. They're much higher in XG. So that's the reason he concedes more, not because he's worse goalkeeper than Raya. I'll give Raya some credit, but the argument who is better here is just almost non-existent for me.
I think you're underrating Raya, and I think it's because of your bias towards his height.
I can't.
His positioning, sometimes he's too aggressive in his positioning, but that's also prevents a lot of situations from happening. And that's why he's so confident and strong in his box, is because he's more aggressive. But the reason he's more aggressive, not because that's his style, but because it has to be that way. When you're that short, you have to sometimes try to predict where the shot is going to go. You have to predict where the cross is going to go. That's why he's caught out of position sometimes. Even when you look at the training videos, he assumes correctly, because 90% of the time, that's the angle of the shot that the striker is going to take, and that's where the ball is going to go. But if it's that 10% which he's not expecting, he's most likely going to concede because of due to his height issues, basically. Okay, I guess I'll concede.
You have to concede on that
I'll
one,
concede
my friend.
on this one. So Ederson will be our goalkeeper. Moving on to right back.
White versus Walker.
Yes.
I
I don't think that there's much of an argument here. I think Walker is clearly the better right back. Even though I really like Ben White, I think he's an excellent player. I think Walker's pace, he's more of a natural right back. And I think defensively, he just has the pace to be better than White. I think White, sometimes on one-on-one positions, he gives up too much space. I think I'm not sure if Walker is more injury prone, but White is the pros I would give White is that he's available all the time and he plays through injury. He's played so many games for Arsenal and he's always on the team sheet. And so you could see that Arteta rates him really well. And he started to play a lot better this year because he's starting to understand playing a right back much better. And you have to give credit to a player that was a center back majority of his career and was able to transition to be a right back. He's been in, he's improved his shape. He's improved his positioning. The guy, when they say that he doesn't love football, that one interview kind of ruined his reputation where he said he doesn't watch football. But you cannot be a player like him playing all these games, playing with injury, and not be so passionate about football.
Sure, no, it's all true. But when you talk about transitioning, you also have to understand that Kyle Walker had to transition a lot because before he joined City and his time at Spurs, he was more of a kind of right back who is going to train the attack most of the time, who is going to go there for all the crosses, he's going to be there every time the team attacks. Now he's playing more of a center back who occasionally joins when he feels that there is space to attack, but most of the time he's just staying there as a third back. And even Ake, who is more of a central defender, actually goes and joins the offense more often. So yeah, I think they both went through the similar type of transition, and just overall Walker is a better player.
Yeah, I'm gonna concede on this one. I do, because I agree with you. I think Walker does definitely have the advantage over him because just even in the England setup, he'll get the start, and you just know that.
I mean, the only factor where Ben White is better is maybe he's a better professional.
That's exactly
we all know the stories of Kyle Walker, the way he behaves outside of football life, and yeah, it's not always beautiful.
Yeah.
So okay. That one we'll give to Walker. So far 2-0 towards Man City.
Yes. So now we go to the right center back.
I'll have to concede this one. It's going to be Saliba versus Stones. Now, Stones, honestly, defensively, it's only been one season when he's been actually defensively solid. It was the first season when Ruben Dias joined Man City, so they were established a partnership and they were very well defensively. But other than that, I think he's not even close to Saliba when it comes to defending. But to all the defending attributes I can think of, Saliba just outnumbers him, outplays him. The only reason why I think Stones might be better is just his movement with the ball, without the ball, understanding the space, understanding how to move opponents away.
More like a defensive
He's
midfielder.
more of defender / defensive midfielder. He understands how to manipulate that space. While Saliba is just better center back.
Yeah, I think in terms of the center back position, it's clear that Saliba is the better player. The one thing I would note about Saliba, since I watch all the games and I've noticed, his only weakness is his heading ability.
Interesting.
Anytime anytime the opposite team has kicked it long and played the long ball, Saliba has struggled. Not every game, but that's where I would identify his weakness, is just he's not as powerful in the air. And it's not because he's not athletic, it's just I'm not sure what he hesitates sometimes in the air, where if you compare him to Gabriel in the air, Gabriel's a lot more aggressive, a lot more sure when he's coming out to play the ball. And so I think the only improvement I would ask of Saliba is to improve his heading ability, because that's the one area I think he can improve. In terms of his pace, in terms of his positioning,
there's no question.
There's no question he's world class, and arguably a top 5 center back right now in the world, not just Arsenal. And so
yeah, no, definitely.
I would say Saliba takes this right center back position. The next one is going to be more interesting.
Is it? Okay.
I think so.
Gabriel versus Ruben Dias. You think it's even a close one?
You know what? I think Gabriel gets so much hate for no reason.
It's not about the hate, but it's just, I think Ruben Dias is just a different level of a defender.
It's a different style of defender.
Definitely, but I think they're both aggressive, as you said. Gabriel is more pacey, but Ruben Dias is just the way he reads the game. Gabriel is also, I'm not saying he's not amazing in those attributes, but Ruben Dias, the way he knows, his shot blocking abilities are insane.
Yes.
He always knows what the shot is going to be. If you remember his slide, the way he positioned himself against the shot by Musiala in their quarterfinal against Bayern, that was one of the best saves by the defender I've seen. So
his timing is
insane. His headers,
insane, yes.
The power he has.
In terms of Gabriel, let me just try to make the argument here. When he joined Arsenal, the first few seasons, he wasn't a world-class center back. He was still growing and he was young. He was 22 years old when he came in. Now, the center back that he's become is a different player than he was a few seasons back. So I feel like a lot of players judge the player based on his 4 or 5 years at Arsenal and not necessarily how he's playing right now. In terms of, he used to have that mistake in him. He's got rid of that. That was my main thing about Gabriel, was that he would get too emotional and he would have a mistake in him. So he's got rid of that in his game. So I just don't see too many weaknesses. He also wasn't his passing needed some improvement. And now, if you look at the statistics, he's one of the most progressive center backs 300%. In terms of passing. And then on top of that, you add on to that he is the best scoring center back in the world, not just in the Premier League, but in the world.
That's not due to him, though. That's more of Arsenal's beautiful tactics when it comes to corner kicks. It's not because...
But he's been doing that for a few seasons, though.
It's not like he headers the ball better than Ruben Dias. It's just Arsenal tactics are much more superior.
But wouldn't you say that Gabriel is the bigger guy and he's more powerful? Like 6'4", super strong.
Taller, but I don't think he's necessarily bigger. I don't think he's more muscular.
All I know is Saliba and him both are the same height, same amazing, but Gabriel is consistently the one who's scoring these goals. Why is that the case? I honestly think he's the best attacking center back there is.
Because as you said, Saliba's headers are not that impressive. So if you're Arsenal's, let's say, corner coach, of course you're going to go with all the corners being directed at Gabriel. You're not going to choose Saliba as your main target. So that's been the reason he's been scoring, because he runs so well. But overall, as a defender, I agree with you on every single point about Gabriel.
I just want to know what makes Diaz better than Gabriel.
His strength, his positioning,
You think he's stronger than Gabriel?
Yes, when it comes to dealing with opponents, yes. And he reads the game better.
Maybe the reading the game. But again, it's so close that it's hard to argue.
Ruben Dias is more of a traditional center back. And maybe I'm old stylish, but I want one of my center backs to be like that.
To me, I feel like Diaz is more similar to Saliba in the way they play, where if we had two Salibas as center backs, I don't think that would work.
But the only weakness of Ruben Dias is his lack of speed. So if he has Saliba besides him to compensate for that, you have a perfect defender. Fair enough.
I guess, I don't know. This one is too close to me. I know you see the word... So the name Diaz, and he has the more experience. He's been in the Man City team, and I think a lot of these players also get that bump just because they're in the Man City team.
I think without Ruben Dias, they wouldn't have not won all those trophies. Especially, they would have not progressed that much in Champions League, because the first season he comes in, they go into the final. Next year, they're going to semi-final. Then next year, they actually win it. So he has that energy. He has that aura with him. He carries it with the team as a defender.
But I also think Gabriel has that too now. Like he's one of the leaders of the team. He's so passionate about the game, and he's vocal with everyone. He's a leader of the young kids, and people look up to him. There was an interview that came out recently with Nelson and Eddie basically talking about who they think is the best center back in the league, and they said Gabriel, which was a surprise because they have Saliba on the team, but they see him as a better player. Yeah,
but don't you think you can apply the same logic to Ruben Dias?
I guess.
I mean, they both get praised equally at their club. It's just, also me as a goalkeeper, I'm also going to look from that perspective. Who I want to see be my defenders.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Ruben Dias over Gabriel 300%. Same thing I'm going to say Saliba over Stones.
Okay. I'll give it to you just by a slight. But if Gabriel continues to play like this, he's going to go up there to me as one of the best center backs.
If it was any other defender right there in a question over Diaz, let's say it was Akanji, I would definitely say Gabriel. But he's just unlucky that in the same position there's Ruben Diaz playing. So
yes,
he can.
So you think Gabriel's better than Stones? Because I think so.
Yeah, we can say that. Probably we can say that.
Okay, so let's move on to left back. So for left back, since Kiwor is most likely going to play, we're going to talk about Kiwor versus Ake.
And that's what basically kills all the questions here. I don't think anyone can choose Kiwor over Ake.
Not at this point. Even though Kiwor has been really good.
He's made lots of progress, but he doesn't have enough experience to really make an argument here. I would say, though, he's impressed in the opportunity he's got, and he's undroppable right now. And that says a lot, because if Zinchenko is fully fit, I still will pick Kiwor. Yeah, 100% for the game, especially if you're gonna play against Man City. You don't want Zinchenko to be there because he's gonna be way too exposed, which happened against Liverpool, basically.
So what would you say is Ake's weakness? That's what I'm interested.
He doesn't have any. I think he's the best defender for Man City.
You think so? He's better than Diaz.
He's one of the most underrated defenders in the world. The amount of job he's doing, he's one of the best defenders one-on-one. Mm-hmm. You can look up any stat. It's very tough to go past him. He reads the game. He knows. He does his left back, center back role better than Kyle Walker. It's just Kyle Walker has the speed.
Yeah.
Insane. It's not like Ake is slow, but compared to Walker, it's not on the same level when it comes to speed. But he doesn't need that speed because he's always in the perfect positions. He always covers that middle ground between the center back and left back perfectly. So yeah, there is no question. He's one of the best defenders in the world right now.
Okay. So then we can move on. So far we have Ederson as our goalkeeper. Right back is Walker. Right center back is Saliba. Diaz as our left center back, and Ake as our left back. So moving to the 6. Okay. Rodri versus Jorginho.
I love Jorginho. I think people like to hate on him.
He's so underrated, honestly.
It's just his flaws are so obvious to the naked eye. So that's why people don't. Because yes, of course, his distribution, his passing, his vision, his understanding of the pace of the game, how to manage it, is amazing. There's no question. No one is close to him on that level, except maybe for Rodri and Busquets when it comes to that specifically. But his defensive attributes, his lack of speed, lack of physical abilities to defend the ball, defend the space, defend the player, are on such a low level for Premier League, especially that if someone dribbles past him, it's so easy. It's so obvious. That's why people have difficulties. You can't compare him to Rodri.
Yeah.
Because everything Jorginho can do, Rodri can do it, plus his defending abilities.
Yeah.
So that's why it's a little bit tough to argue there. I love Jorginho when he gets so much critique for, again, like I said, lack of defending. You can't blame him. That's who he is as a player. He doesn't have much options there. It's just, again, as I said,
he excels really well in what he does, but he does definitely have weaknesses that Rodri doesn't, and that's where Rodri would be the better
offensively,
6.
They do the same thing, I would say. So the defensive, the lack of defending abilities for Jorginho, that's what's killing him, basically.
Yeah.
So Rodri clean win there, basically.
Okay. So let's go to the right midfield. So Odegard versus De Bruyne.
Okay. Can I be honest here? I know KDB is a better player. De Bruyne.
I think we're going to agree here because we're going to look at it from this season's perspective.
But it's just Odegard is such a unique type of player.
No,
I love him. He's a hardworking Mesut Ozil. I want to say this. He's a hardworking Mesut Ozil, and I love that. And can we just maybe give a draw here? Can we just?
No, I think we're gonna have to pick. Let me make the argument of why I think Odegaard should get for this season. We're not talking about De Bruyne has been the best Premier League player in the past 5 to 10 years, but this season alone, I think Odegaard has went to another level, especially since the new year. He controls the game pretty much. He starts to press, so he's constantly running. If you look at all the stats, he always is the one who has the highest running stats in the game. And his only negative was that there were certain games that he would shy away sometimes at the beginning of his career. We would argue is like, we haven't seen Odegaard with the ball all day. Now he's instrumental. He's the maestro of the team. And I would argue that he's also like a lot more available than De Bruyne. He's physically gifted to be able to play so many games and constantly be running and pressing. And on top of that, he has excellent technical skills. I think on the same level as De Bruyne. He's just younger.
He doesn't have the same
He
passing.
doesn't have the same passing, but in terms of dribbling, I would say maybe Odegaard even has better dribbling than De Bruyne. De Bruyne just knows space better, and he's a little bit more faster and has a final ball that's best in the...
They have a little bit different type of dribbling because Odegaard likes to keep the ball close to his feet, while when De Bruyne, if you notice his dribbling, is sometimes it looks very sloppy. It doesn't look like he has the ball in his feet. But at the same time, he controls it pretty well. Yeah, as you said, especially on the higher speeds, when he's a full sprint, the way De Bruyne controls the ball and then finds the right pass or finds the perfect shot is... You have to, if you ever play football, you know how difficult it is to run in the middle, full speed, have the ball in your feet, and then also find the space to shoot.
Yeah.
Which he did against Newcastle, for example. So yeah, I just...
To me, this one, I'm not going to concede on De Bruyne, just because I think Odegaard has been better for us than De Bruyne has been for City.
Has been injured a lot, but
let's just say it this way: City. I personally think City haven't been that great this year without De Bruyne, and then when he came back, they also haven't been that great. So I just don't think that they're missing De Bruyne as much as they used to. In the system that they play right now, I don't feel like De Bruyne has come in and just tremendously improved them. But if Odegaard was to if we had to replace him with someone else, if we had to have Vieira or Smith Rowe play there, I think the quality drop-off would be enormous, and we would be missing... And we wouldn't play the same way. Yeah, so to make that argument, I think Odegaard is just more important.
But I would have to disagree with you because we saw what happened with in Newcastle game. When City pretty much, they couldn't... Yeah, they were playing actually well. It's just they couldn't find that final pass, final shot. De Bruyne comes in, he finds the final shot, and he finds the final pass. So that's the difference. I don't think Odegaard is able to pull off the miracle like De Bruyne can do. That's the problem.
I mean, if you looked at that Porto game,
I know,
he unlocked them with that miracle dribbling and final pass.
Did you win, or was it a draw and then you went to penalties?
No, we won that game. I know, it was 1-0 and went to penalties and we won.
So you didn't win. So you didn't do his job full, did he?
I mean, what are you talking about? Like we're talking about a team like Porto who were parked the bus for 2 legs, and he unlocked them with an amazing pass. You just said he can't unlock them, and he did.
But you said he can. I told you that De Bruyne can pull off a miracle. Did Odegaard pull off a miracle? No, he did not.
What miracle did De Bruyne pull off?
He scored a goal and gave an assist.
Okay, that's not a miracle to me.
Well, they were losing 2-1
against Newcastle, who have been so poor defensively.
I think they still beat you, didn't they?
Newcastle?
Yeah.
How did they beat us? With what type of call? Three offside, three calls that should have clearly.
What kind of thing calls that goal?
The ball was out. There was no foul.
The foul maybe I could give to you, but it's not clear. It's not a clear and obvious error.
Are you serious? Okay, let's move on. Yeah, let's move on. I'm gonna go with Odegaard. You can go with De Bruyne. How about that?
You still go with Odegaard.
Huh?
You think Odegaard overall is a better player than De Bruyne?
Not overall this season.
Yeah, because De Bruyne has been injured for the half of the season.
Okay, but so then you have to give it to Odegaard. You can't just look at a player from their whole career and say, okay, because if we're looking at it from a whole career, then De Bruyne is the better player.
If you're the coach, who you pick?
Right now, I would take Odegaard.
Okay, it's okay. You're allowed to have your opinion.
That is my opinion. Okay, so moving to the left, 8.
Okay, before you make any comment,
yes,
I'll have to explain why I think Rice over Silva. Not because he's a better player, I just think Silva in the middle doesn't work. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't understand where to be. I know Pep is trying to use him as a Gundogan replacement, but he just doesn't work like that. He's not comfortable there. He doesn't understand how to progress the ball. He doesn't know what to do with. Like he doesn't look comfortable compared to him being on as a winger. As a winger, that's his position. He's perfect there. But whenever I disagree with Guardiola, every time he plays him there, I just don't understand what he's trying to picture. Yeah, maybe he does the defensive duties better than his other options, but offensively he just doesn't look comfortable there. So
Yeah.
on this one, especially considering how Rice has changed his position, I mean he hasn't changed it, but he just wasn't playing that much offensively at the West Ham. But the way he just
His final ball is amazing.
his movement has been
His
amazing.
movement is amazing. His ability to control the whole midfield is amazing. He's everywhere. That's how I describe him. He reminds me of Vieira.
Okay.
That's the highest praise I can give him.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give it to Rice for this one. Yeah, I'll
Yes.
have to give to Rice.
Okay, so Declan gets
That one is super easy. Unfortunately,
a
as much
midfield of Rodri, Declan Rice together. Think about that.
I mean,
They control the whole midfield.
yeah, then
That's what Man City wanted. If Man City got Rice, it would have been the boringest Premier League season. That's how good Rice is. Think about it.
maybe it's just everyone else at the Arsenal team are poor, so that's why he kind of sticks out.
No.
I mean,
Stop it with that. Okay, so let's move on to your favorites. Saka versus Foden for the right wing.
I have a feeling you're gonna say Saka, aren't you?
100%. 100%.
You're gonna go with Saka
Okay,
or Foden.
let's start here. For England, who starts?
Okay,
Who starts?
let's not bring delusion of Southgate into this, please.
Bro, Saka has played left back, and he looked amazing as a left back.
Yeah, but
he's played midfield.
Okay, but-
and he's played right wing.
Okay, how about this?
Can
Southgate,
Foden
first
do
of all,
that?
Southgate still uses Maguire as a defender.
Yes,
Do not
okay.
bring him as a good source that why Saka is better than Foden.
Saka is better than Foden.
And plus, Saka plays as a winger, which is what Southgate prefers. Foden is not comfortable as a winger.
Okay, so we're talking about right winger.
Okay, still Foden.
How is it still Foden? What does Foden do better than Saka?
He has a better dribbling than Saka.
I don't think that's the case.
He has-
I think he has better, maybe slightly technical ability, but Saka is more athletic, is more powerful, is stronger, is really smart IQ player, both of them. But I feel like Saka makes better decision making than Foden. He's better at pressing than Foden is.
But
I'm
okay,
sorry, but
okay.
his only downfall was that he didn't have a right foot, and now he has a right foot. Tell me if Foden has a right foot
Yeah, he does. Definitely does.
compared to Saka.
Yeah, 100%.
How many right-footed goals have you seen since
I'm not
this
a
year?
Man City fan. I just don't know every their goal.
Okay.
But come on, it's just my issue with Saka is this. This season he has the support of Odegard and Ben White, and the trio has been amazing. The way they move, they always find space, which is impressive. How they always find the passing option between those three guys.
Yes.
But when he's isolated, one-on-one with the defender, when he has no support, he looks very predictable. It's very easy to close him
He's
down.
never isolated one-on-one. He's always isolated one-on-two.
I want to see Saka against the world-class defender.
Okay.
Because we haven't seen it. Just because he goes past the West Ham defender, I'm not going to say he's... I'm sorry with all due respect, but like we've seen Arsenal again. I want to see... We've seen what happened with Porto.
Okay.
Didn't we? What happened there with Saka?
You don't think that they were
Wendell
double teaming on Saka? No.
Well, that's my problem, isn't it? Every time he doesn't have the superiority in attack, every time it's not 2-on-1 or 3 versus 2, when he has to struggle beat one player or two players, I'm going to choose Foden there. Aren't you go with the Foden one-on-one? Who's going to dribble past the defender one-on-one?
I don't know. I don't like. I'm sorry, but I just don't see that in Foden either.
I just don't understand. Every time I've seen Saka
Yes.
being faced with a tough defender, even when it's Ake, just one-on-one, he struggles. Unless he has a perfect support of Ben White, Odegard, Saka gets closed down very easily.
I don't know.
I
I don't know if we're
would
watching the same game.
I would want to see Saka play against Camavinga.
Okay.
Because the way Camavinga is one-on-one defending, he's insanely well. He just knows how to defend one-on-one. I would just want to see how he's gonna play there. I just want to see it.
Let's just say this. Statistically, Saka is better this year. Yes, he is.
We looked it up. It was just 1-2 goals difference.
Okay, you have to admit statistically he's better.
Yeah, because
you just said that he's not a right winger, Foden. He plays more of like a midfielder. I feel like he's more of a 10 that's playing on the right wing. And so I would 10 out of 10 pick Saka. I'm sorry. Okay. But I'm not conceding on this one.
Okay, you don't have to concede, but you have to admit that Saka is just a very predictable player.
He is not very predictable. He's even if he's predictable, he's good at what he does. Robin was predictable, and he did the same thing, and he was excellent at doing that.
No, Robin wasn't predictable.
Are you serious? Everyone knew
he was going
he
scored lots of goals with his left. He would just cut in the ball. He would just cut in and just score to the near post. Sorry, the.
So Starboy.
But then my issue is that if you close Robin's left foot, he would still go on the right and still create
Saka
something.
does that too.
Saka cannot. Oh my god!
Have you not been watching the games?
I have been watching, and 70% of the attacks of Arsenal go on the right side, where he's insanely supported by Ben White and Odegard. When
you have Walker supporting Foden, who has insane pace.
He doesn't join the attack as much as you think.
Okay, but you're telling me Walker. You said Walker was the better right back.
What I'm saying, if let's say Foden is put into the position of Saka when he's constantly supported by two players and they constantly moving around, confusing the defenders.
Okay.
Foden is also going to look super dangerous because he's always outnumbering the defense.
Do you think Foden has been more consistent than Saka?
Yeah, 300%. You gotta remember.
Okay, so this is like gonna be similar to Odegaard and De Bruyne.
But you gotta remember when Kevin De Bruyne wasn't available, the one who would carry all the offensive responsibilities and create was Phil Foden.
Martinelli was also not available on the other wing, so they would just double down on that wing because they knew that Trossard wasn't gonna be able to outrun anyone.
Yeah, but that's my entire point.
So Foden was amazing at the beginning of the season. Weren't Man City struggling? I'm sorry, but you're acting like Foden has been amazing all season.
Yeah, they were struggling because they didn't have Kevin De Bruyne, they didn't have
exactly.
Holland
So
for
when
2
they
months.
didn't have him, he wasn't doing well.
He was the only one scoring all the goals.
And so has Saka.
Okay, sure.
He literally was the only one scoring goals.
You guys scored 6 against Burnley, West Ham, and Sheffield United. So
okay. Yeah. But before the new year, he had 6 goals and 6 assists.
Okay, sure. It's okay. It's okay.
So it's not like he wasn't doing anything.
I'm not saying.
Let's move on because we're lagging it. But I'm gonna pick Saka. Okay. And clearly you're gonna pick Foden.
Yeah, 300%. Okay. Because I'm not delusional.
No, this is not delusional. This is a very close.
But you gotta remember,
you are underrating Saka so much.
But wouldn't you just say that you being an Arsenal fan?
No, I am not.
Subjective as me being a Barca fan. I don't have any support for Man City.
You definitely have a support for Man City. Stop it with that.
I don't like.
By the way, he's a Man City supporter.
I'm not a Man City fan. I like Guardiola.
He's a City supporter
I just like Guardiola. No, I don't support City.
Okay. Let's move on to the left wing.
We just skip over this one because it's so obvious. Martinelli versus Doku.
Are you serious? Which one is obvious to you?
Martinelli. I don't like Doku.
Okay, thank you.
I don't like players who don't understand how to position themselves. He ruins so many attacks for Man City. He's just.
Can you explain to me what you saw in him in the beginning of the season? Because you did say Doku was really good. So what was it? His dribbling? I would say his dribbling maybe is a little better than Martinelli.
Unfortunately, it's been like more of a surprise effect. But once teams learn that you just apply one more defender on Doku, and the problem solved. So right now, every time he just has the ball, there's a right back and a right, either it's a midfielder or someone from the as a winger just joins in the defense, and he's 2-on-1 and he's just looking ridiculously bad. Doesn't have the ball control, doesn't seem to have the pace I thought he has. He has the acceleration, he can just, his initial speed is amazing, but when it comes to sprint, it's actually insanely slow. So just Doku has been disappointing and Martinelli has been good because he has always been basically so. The
only drawback with Martinelli is his statistics aren't that great, but what he gives to the team in terms of his pressing, in terms of his dribbling, in terms of his attack ability, and his final ball has been a lot better. It's unfortunate that he doesn't get as many assists because I feel like he's put in a position where because of the way he presses, he doesn't have that last energy to make that final run just because if he's so much of his energy is defensive.
And he is also struggling with the same thing that we talked about Foden. He doesn't get the support from the fullbacks.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So it's always one-on-one. So that's what makes it difficult.
Yep. We don't have a proper, like Zinchenko has always played in the middle. Kiwor is a little bit more supportive of Martinelli, and that's why you've actually seen him a little bit better. Yeah. Because he has like a proper left back supporting him instead of Zinchenko going into the middle, and then he's kind of has to like, he can't go that much forward all the time because he has to always realize that Zinchenko's poor defensively. True. Okay, so we pick Martinelli there. So the last one is... It's no debate.
Havertz versus Holland. I mean, I know you might disagree with me, but I think Havertz has a better hold-up play compared to Holland. And that includes just receiving regular passes and just turning your body the correct way, making the correct pass. It's just being better at positioning yourself. If there's a long ball coming at Havertz, for example, and Holland, comparing them, I don't like how Holland receives the ball. Despite him being so big, so strong, he's getting pushed away very easily. I don't think he has the necessary balance to do three things correctly. Receive the ball correctly, put your body correctly, and turn your body at the same time.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's like, there's a long ball coming from Ederson. He receives the ball. He controls the defender with his strength of his back, but he doesn't turn correctly. Like, he can't do it at the same time. Well, I think Havertz is just a little bit smarter player because he has played at so many positions, and he used to be number 10 when he was playing for Leverkusen. So he understands space a little bit better than
that for sure. I think Havertz, in terms of how do I describe this? I think Holland
he's a pure striker. He's a
pure striker, but also he's gifted physically. He is so powerful in his runs. He's super fast and he's super strong in his runs, and he doesn't need too much space to score goals. And so his scoring ability, his being able, like, he outperformed his XG last year by crazy amounts. And so if you think about it that way, he's lethal. However, his other sides of the game, in terms of his hold-up play, like you mentioned, and I think his technical ability is not as good as Havertz.
Yeah.
Like, Havertz can play midfield. I'm not sure if that's his best position. I think this false nine position is best for him because he's able to use his press, but also if he needs to go back a little bit and join the midfield, he can. And then if he wants to make those runs, I think Havertz makes these amazing runs, but so does Holland.
But the issue with false nine, why it's such a difficult position, because you have to be super quick, because you have to receive the ball, lay it off to your midfielder, defender,
and then make the run.
And then you have to be there quick. Well, that's what Messi was so successful in. He would receive the ball, play it, and then half a second later, he was already playing as a striker. So his transition was so good in the positions. Havertz doesn't have that. I think, in my understanding from what I remember even Leverkusen, if I was a coach, which I'm not, unfortunately, if I were a coach, I would put Havertz as a number 10 in the 4-2-3-1 position. Just him being behind the striker, the position they call shadow striker, when you're behind the striker, but every time the ball goes to the final third, you act as a striker. You go into the box, you receive the ball.
Kind of like how Bergkamp.
Yeah, basically that. It just doesn't
like, he was a striker for some of the teams, but then with the Arsenal system, he played as like a 10.
Yeah, so that's the perfect position. But as a striker, it's Holland, definitely.
Yeah, Holland, yeah.
I think we got our 11. Maybe you want to repeat it just in case.
Yeah, so goalkeeper we have as Ederson. Right back is Walker. Right center back Saliba. Left center back Diaz. Left back Ake. 6 would be Rodri. Right midfield. I selected Odegard. He selected De Bruyne. Left midfield is Rice. Right wing, I selected Saka. Kuka selected Foden. Left winger, we selected Martinelli. And then striker, we selected Holland. And so I think that's
pretty solid team.
It's really hard because I think I look back 3-4 years ago and I would compare Man City, and I would say pretty much every single player on Man City was better than Arsenal. The fact that we have 3 or 4 people that you even consider as better than Man City has shown the quality has gone up so much for Arsenal.
Sure.
And it's going to be an interesting game. So maybe we do a little quick prediction of what we think is the game's result.
I would say something along 3-0, 4-1 towards Man City.
That is outrageous.
Sorry.
Outrageous.
I just don't see Arsenal winning at
Outrageous.
the Etihad. I just don't see it.
Outrageous. I'm going to go 1-1.
Okay. Well, you're a believer. What can I say?
Yeah. I think it's going to be really hard to win there, even though I think we need to win there if we're going to win the title. So I'm hoping for a win, but my realistic thoughts are 1-1. I don't think that they're not going to go 3-0. Not against this team defensively. We're way more solid than we were last year. We're not injury, like a majority of our team is not injured. And so we have everyone pretty much we need to be defensively solid, where the time we went to Etihad last year, if you looked at our back line, you would be laughing. So
I'm still going to be laughing on Sunday.
yeah, we had what is it called? Kiwor playing as a right center back.
It's okay. No, we had the Holding, no?
No,
No, I think it was Holding. You had Holding playing.
no, Holding, or it was Holding.
You was. I remember. I
It was
remember the
Holding?
Bruyne score. Yeah. I remember the ridiculous defending.
Okay,
from
so you had Holding.
It's okay.
That makes a huge difference. Just Holding alone. Sorry, Holding, but it is what it is.
I'm still gonna go with 3-0.
3-0. Okay,
or 4-1
so maybe we do
score.
like a post-reaction podcast, and then
We'll see
what happens. All right, let's go 10-0 to Arsenal.
Talk about delusion.
All right.
I think it's a good team,
Yeah.
except for Saka over Foden, but hey,
Okay.
whatever.
All right. We'll see you guys in the next video. Please subscribe. Please share this video. Please like. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you.